Morning, everyone.
Good morning, Emma.
There you go.
And just cut out.
Hello.
Hey, Ben.
Hi,
Hey, everyone. Can you hear me?
Morning, Walt.
morning.
Oh,
He's muted. Okay.
no, we can't hear. I think there's a setting on our side. There we go. Now we should be able to do everything. There we go.
All right. Well, can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
All right, we can hear you. And Ben, you're all set?
I can hear everyone.
All right, great. We're going to call the meeting to order. We still don't have a quorum here present, so there's some things that we won't be able to vote on, but it's pretty much administrative stuff. So I'd like to call the meeting to order for the March 3rd, 2023 Geneva IDA meeting. Meeting is called to order. We have the minutes from last meeting that we'll actually put for a vote next meeting. I'm just going to pass that over unless someone has some questions or corrections that we could take care of right now. Anything on the meeting minutes? They look pretty good. Tracy's recorder works great. The financial report, maybe just go through it. We just won't vote to approve it.
Mhm. So we have, there's the rent from Downtown Winery. That's a monthly thing. We've got the MRB group bill for February, which included the $4,200 for the monthly administrative services, plus an additional about $700 for the GEDC project. There's a lot of activity there with all the studies happening last month. So that was added to the bill. And then the other professional services, I think we have a bill from one of the contractors. Oh no, there was a Plumley bill that came in as well. So that's what that is. And then we've got the balance sheet, which looks pretty similar to last month. So not much to report there.
Okay, any questions of Tracy on these submittals? Right, again, we'll push them off to next month for approval. So Maureen, I see you're on the phone. Thank you very much for joining us. What's up with the school board?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. Well, we've had a busy month and we're going to even get busier. I'm happy to report that on Wednesday this week, we opened bids for our $27.5 million capital improvement project. They're currently being descoped right now, but it looks like Iverson Construction from Gorham is the general contractor. And then we have, I think, 7 other trades out there that we'll be working with. So these bids will be accepted at the March 13th board meeting, and we will be moving fast to try and get some outside site work done. And then we start really going at it on the inside of the buildings right after the students are done. So we're trying to do a little bit of work on the inside where it doesn't involve it won't disrupt the students at all. In some of the areas like the pool at the high school, we're doing new lighting in there, refurbishing the walls, those kinds of things. So we're excited. The bids came in very favorable to us, to the district, and we believe we'll be able to do some of the alternates that we had planned for. So that's good news. We worked hard to make sure that we were going out to bid before some of the other bigger projects in the state and in the area, such as like the Buffalo Bills Stadium and some of those other things started happening. So we feel like we got in while the contractors were pretty hungry, and so it's good news for everyone. Secondly, we are in process of developing something called a regional summer high school, where Geneva High School will host other schools whose students need summer school. It's actually done through Wayne Finger Lakes BOCES, but we will be the host school for that. So we're working through those details right now. It'll be a great opportunity for a more robust summer school program. And it'll give some other students from other districts an opportunity to come in and see what Geneva schools are about. And we're excited to get going with that one. We received a Crossing Bridges grant, which is for crossing bridges between Mandarin or Chinese and the US, and $10,000 was awarded to each of our middle school and our North Street school. And they're going to do a lot of things. They're going to do activities and stuff. But one of the fun things they're doing is they're getting authentic Chinese food. We're working with one of the restaurants here in town, and we really boosted it. We've been able to give them quite a bit of money. So we're happy to be doing that. And the kids are loving it and doing presentations on it. And my own great niece is involved in it, and she just is so excited about it all. And finally, on yesterday, as part of our capital projects, we're going to be redoing our middle school library. And in the process of talking about it, we decided that the students should have a voice in what furniture and what it looked like. And so in the Dove building downtown, there is a Corbett showroom that has an amazing display of furniture and all different, venues and different areas that of how you could set up not only an educational area, but just maybe a straight office space. So our students took a trip down there yesterday with our architects, and they were, they couldn't have been better host, the people at the Corbett showroom. And the kids were just really excited about what they got to see, and that they had a voice in what furniture was going in that building. So it's been an exciting week here.
Good. All right, anyone have any questions of Maureen? Thank you for the report, Maureen. So, all right. Well, again, thanks for taking the time to bring us up to date.
My pleasure.
Miles, I see you're on the phone.
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. How are things at the GEDC?
Yeah, it was a pretty busy couple of weeks. We had entertained the inspections that the board had set forth. So we ushered through had an environmental inspection with that engineering firm. We had a roof evaluation, and then the 3D mapping of the building for spatial floor plans and things like that. So other than that, fairly quiet. I think we had one showing over the last couple of weeks with a theater group that was looking for some storage space, but the majority of the activity kind of revolved around those people coming in from out of town and accommodating their needs.
Did the 3-story building in the back there fare okay in the cold weather? Didn't have any accidental discharge of the sprinkler?
Yeah, thankfully. I mean, we had that one super cold snap one day that worried us, but we seem to have gotten through it. So
All right, good.
that's
Good.
really the only. And there is some other compromised issues with that sprinkler system. We found a couple of leaks the other day that we're fixing, but that's normal maintenance type stuff.
All right, that's good. And okay, any questions of Miles before we let him go, cut him loose?
Hmm.
All right, all right. Thank you, Miles. Or yeah, thanks for the report and sending in the information, keeping us up to date.
You're welcome.
GDC committee, any status on that?
Yeah, so I was just gonna kind of follow up on the studies that Miles has been diligently working with folks to get done. I did get the roof assessment back. I sent it out to the committee. They identified issues and what was working well and made some recommendations, and their recommendations actually fell into multiple categories of like, here's the bare minimum you should do, here's an upgrade to that, and here's the ideal. So that was nice.
Yeah, it was
to
nice
see.
they did that, yeah.
So there's a lot of good information. There are sections of the roof that are having, they called it ponding. There's just, it's not draining water off of the roof. So That's something to look at probably sooner rather than later. And, I think that the ideal option for the sawtooth piece is to just take it down and build something else. So it's just, sawtooth roofs are real hard to manage and keep. And a lot of it's been kind of piecemealed over the years with metal flashing and tar paper and I don't know, all sorts of weird stuff. It's been band-aided a lot. So yeah, so that report was illuminating and I think a really good start to understanding what's needed there. And then as Miles mentioned, the 3D scanning is complete. They did that last week. And from there, it should be probably another 4 to 6 weeks before we have floor plans. So and I'm glad to hear that the engineering firm was there. So we should have an ESA relatively soon too. That shouldn't take too long.
Is there a motion regarding the additional studies? Not really.
No, that's just an update at this point. So just know that those are ongoing. It'll still be a few weeks before we get some of those back, but all of the site work appears to be done.
So maybe committee meeting in April?
That's what I'm thinking.
Jason, I see you joined us. Thank you. Glad you could call in.
Thank you.
City Council, I see Amy's not here today, so we'll skip that. IDA projects, Tracy, what else? What do we have on the agenda?
Yeah.
We talked about Nardozzi down below here, but
Yep. So on the land sale front for Nardozzi, I'll just talk about that real quick. They have been looking through the documents. They asked me a question about it. I got back to them earlier this week. So I expect we should have hopefully signed documents from them for the land sale piece soon. And then we'll talk about the pilot later. The Pretzel Logic, we had some back and forth with them a couple of weeks ago, and then Anthony went on vacation. I'm hoping to have a signed contract from him any day now, a signed lease from him any day now, but I do not have it yet. So he was amenable to the agreement about some of the costs that needed to be taken care of and just needed to review some of the repairs that are still needed at the space that tie back to their active time. So he was going to review that and then after vacation sign the lease, but I haven't heard from him yet. So I'll follow up with him. And then the other thing I just wanted to touch base on is the new fee structure that allows us to do smaller projects and do sales tax only. We were thinking that it might be a good idea to do some sort of like a press release or some sort of information sharing about that, because we kind of just talked about it in this meeting and how are people supposed to know? Like we don't have a huge viewership. So we were thinking it might be a good idea to do a press release on that and try to get the word out about it so businesses know that they can at least reach out and explore it. There are going to be projects we can't help, and there's going to be projects that don't make sense, but it's better to have people asking and knowing that for sure than being in the dark as to what we're doing. So if that is okay with the board, I can draft something up and we can get something out to the paper over the next few weeks to start kind of talking about that and at least let people know that we're doing it. As people are starting to think about construction season. And that's it.
Maybe in that news release, we could mention the thing about, describing the need for our participation, that it's just not giving our money away, that it requires the scrutiny of our board or some sort of look at it. That's not an automatic.
Yeah, it's not as of.
They have to apply and go through that. Also, at Gateway, we're still waiting on the GEDC, or not the DEC.
Yes, Gateway, we're still waiting on DEC, but that's in their hands now.
We've done all we can do.
Yep.
There. All right. Okay, any questions? All set? All right. On the new business, the Nardozzi pilot was in our package. Basically, what we're going to do today is schedule a public meeting. Do we need to do that with a vote?
Yeah, so we can't do that today.
Okay, and you have to do it in person, okay? All right. I encourage you to look through the application. It's pretty routine. The project is under $3 million, so there's not prevailing wage requirements. Obviously, they've been occupying the space there for some time. Kind of got held up over the last couple of years. Dates back, I think the original application, is this a new application or no?
So this is a hybrid of the old application. They updated the budget page and they re-signed it. But all the other information was still the same.
Right.
So like the project specs are still the same that you've been talking about for all this time. And then but the costs have obviously been honed in and gone up as it does.
He still does not have, he did not get to the planning board on February.
Yeah, so I'm still under the impression that he will be there in March. So
Right.
I'll reach out to him, make sure that he's preparing to do a presentation to the board, but also meeting that timeline to go in March.
Right.
And what we might want to, I hate to do this, but we might want to schedule a quick meeting sometime in the next couple of weeks to try to get a public hearing on the schedule. Just to stay on schedule. I'll confirm with him that he'll be there in March. And if he's still on track to do that, you might want to.
Since we have 3 callers today, is there a time that we could meet for, we could clean up some of these motions and vote on them and just set it'd probably be a 15-minute meeting, right? But it
Yeah.
does have to be in, excuse me, it does have to be in person now. Could we do it in maybe a weeknight, early evening type of thing, 6 o'clock, something like that, or either before or after dinner, but just something where we can sit here at this table for literally 3 or 4 motions, approve them, set the meeting. The public meeting that we're going to be scheduling, also want to talk about when that should be scheduled. Once we have a motion for the public meeting, we have to wait a few weeks because there's a public notice has to be published in the paper. And then whether or not we want to do that, the public meeting at our next meeting, like at 8:30 on the first Friday of next month, or if we want to also schedule that for an evening. So it's a separate event. So I'm open for suggestions and comments. Ben, do you have any, I'm just doing almost a roll call here. Ben, do you have any preference on both this second, they're in between meeting for us?
Evenings and afternoons are much easier for me. The only day next week is Wednesday, the 8th. I have a prior commitment out of town the rest of the week, and it looks like the following week for me would be wide open for an afternoon or evening.
Okay, and Jason, Mondays are good for an evening, okay? And Lowell, what about you? You're gonna be back in town anytime soon, or?
Not soon, 18th. We're out for 2 weeks here, so
Okay.
I'm back the 18th.
All right, well, if Jason and Ben can make it, the 3 of us could probably make a afternoon or late afternoon.
Yeah, maybe we can. So like I said, I'll confirm that he's on track for March, because otherwise it's a moot point.
Right.
But if he does confirm, maybe we can look at, would like Monday, the 13th.
Sure.
We can do like a 4:30 or 5 o'clock.
Just make sure. I don't think that's an issue.
I think that would be fine. We could, we'll try to get hold of Rick. We missed the executive committee meeting, so we haven't talked to him, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that's part of what we'll schedule. Tracy will put together some information check that we'll do, and we'll just have a quick voting meeting to set these things up. Like I said, for just a few minutes.
You're thinking that evening time?
Yeah,
5:30, 6
probably,
o'clock, so-
yeah, maybe, 6 o'clock, or if you want to do it before dinner, we could do it at 5:30 or something like that. Just, it's just a quick, 15 minutes, sit down, we can clean up the things we didn't vote on, plus set that meeting date. And then, what do you think about the meeting, the public meeting being prior to our next meeting in March, or in April, sorry. April's, what day would it be? April 3rd, or something like that.
The 7th,
7th.
which is Good Friday, I will say. I don't know what people's
Yeah.
situations are, but
It's spring.
What's the opinion of whether this public hearing should be set for an evening so we'd have more attendance? Both Tracy and I do not believe there's going to be much public discussion about this project. I mean, it's a project that they've been on the site there for over a year. And I don't know if there's much public comment to be said, but we don't want to limit it either. We want to make sure that whoever wants to. Any comment on evening or prior to our meeting on the 7th?
Probably should, it's gonna be Good Friday, you probably do it in the morning. A lot of people might be starting to travel.
It's also spring break week, so like I won't be in town that entire week, and I don't know if that applies to anybody else.
Oh, it is spring break, that's right, yeah. I don't know if that affects anything or not with this.
I mean, one thing we could look at, we're far enough out now, we could look at maybe just pushing the meeting a week and doing it the 14th.
Why don't we? What's that?
Oh, I'm off that day.
Oh.
Well, I'm not off, I'm at a conference that day.
All right, well, we'll ask Tracy to put together a schedule. We'll get some emails out there and see who can respond and make sure we pick a good time for both this brief voting meeting and the public hearing on Nardozzi's project. Okay, and if you have any questions about the application, like I said, it's pretty straightforward. Tracy also included the cost benefit of the impacts of the project and kind of what we're getting for the money we're investing in the project or helping them with. There's anyone has any questions at this time, or if we just shelve it to when James is here to discuss it with us.
Yeah, so if we're gonna schedule a separate meeting, I'll see if he can attend that.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll fix my mistake in the first place.
Because public,
Tracy, this is Emma.
Oh, hi, Emma.
Hey, no, I'll just have to come back to you and maybe him. His description of the building is just, there's going to be a building there. We'll just need some specifics for the public hearing notice.
Sure.
In terms of like acreage and square footage and what exactly they're going to be doing to the building.
Okay.
And then I know you would touch base with Russ on the mortgage recording tax exemption. So Ontario County is they are a transportation district, so they will have to pay the 25 basis points on the mortgage. So that, I mean, it's going to be minimal, but.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay.
Will we have a site plan to look at by any chance?
It's not together yet. Like I said, they didn't come to the planning board in February. They're supposed to be there for March. Certainly, we could ask James if he could have it for the presentation when he comes, so we have a chance. I'll try to get you a prior look, Lowell, so you can scan your watchful eyes around it and see what you think we need to be aware of.
Yeah,
Okay.
there would definitely be one before an authorizing resolution because it needs to go.
Yeah,
through
you
seeker.
definitely want to have it before we vote on it, because one of the things he has to have planning board approval.
Yeah.
That's still in place. So again, it won't be till the third week in March that he's going to, which is not that long, a couple weeks ago, that he'll have before the meeting. Now, if he misses that, then obviously it's pushed off to April.
Yep. Yeah, then we can just wait till
is
April.
he required to be here for the public hearing?
No,
No, right, okay,
we can ask him to be though.
right, yeah,
I was planning to ask him. to
yeah,
be.
yeah,
It helps in case there's questions.
right,
or-
right. So some of this public hearing might go around, if he's gone that week or out of town, then it might,
Yeah,
we might have to.
Exactly. We should make sure
Yeah.
he's available.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll check his availability
Okay,
for March too.
good. All right, the last item on the agenda, so we don't have any new business, do we? I don't think so. Yeah,
Oh, the board evaluation results. we
that's what I'm
wanted
going
to
to
talk
say.
about, yeah.
The last item on the agenda is the board evaluations. Tracy, you want to speak to that for a few minutes?
Yeah, so we compiled the results of all of the evaluations. Those are in the packet. It's the last page of the packet. Overall, agreement with a lot of items. There were a few that we want to keep an eye on and maybe talk about a little bit over time. You can see the somewhat disagrees here. It was all, ones, and those did come from different people. It's not like one person was extra hard, like these, but Yeah, so overall doing well, but there probably are some areas that the IDA can improve or talk about to make sure that everybody's on the same page about, how the management of, the CEO works and metrics and what the performance goals for the IDA are, and, revisiting those items to make sure everybody's on the same page. But overall, not the worst evaluation I've ever seen. So good work, guys.
Yes.
Any questions, Jason, Ben, or Lowell?
No, I'm
No.
good.
I'm all set. Tracy, you're going to be getting out the official meeting dates and times and all that good stuff in the coming days.
Yeah, so probably early next week. I'll talk to James first, and then I'll get something out that has the scheduling for the special meeting, scheduling for public hearing, and if we want to talk about the April meeting, I'll pop that in there too. So early next week, we'll get that out.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all for joining. I think we're at the end of the agenda anyway, so I'm looking for a motion to adjourn that we don't have to vote on.
So
All right.
Second.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks,
Take care.
everybody.
Half hour work.
I know. What the heck? I don't even have to be here every day, Ann.